All right. Welcome into this edition of the Milwaukee Bucks on Tap podcast. Corey Bowen, Evan Byrne. Evan, how are we doing on this fine Friday morning?
Can't complain. Had the last couple days off. Just been enjoying myself outside of the office.
I am so glad to hear that. I am not enjoying myself. And the reason why I am not enjoying myself is because we touched on this last week. Do we think that Milwaukee is a good basketball team? And, you know, it was a lot. And early on in the season, it's been, okay, Giannis scored 45. And then hopefully everybody else pitches in. Well, it's still kind of been like that. Where, all right, Giannis, you literally do everything possible to win this game for us. And, you know, hopefully everybody else just falls in line. Now, I'm not sitting here being like he's like LeBron James, where this team's going to be carried to 55 wins. But also, the record that Milwaukee's had is a little deceiving because, you know, they've had some good wins. Don't get me wrong. Beat the Warriors. All right, they've, you know, I don't believe they've played the Celtics yet. But, you know, again, they've had some solid wins, you know, beating honestly, outside the Warriors, I'm really trying to name like another quality win that this team has had in which
They beat the Knicks.
Huh? Yeah.
They beat the Knicks.
Yeah, that was early in the season. Again, Giannis had to have a good ass game to do that.
Yep. That was it.
Again, I think that win could be a little deceiving, considering that. I mean, that was probably the best game that they played all year, because what I'm watching is, you know, all right, AJ Green, Gary Trent, Miles Turner. They haven't had Kevin Porter Jr. And what I'm seeing is they don't play any defense. They can't rebound for shit. All right, this team gives up way too many offensive rebounds.
For the Rockets.
We will get into that Rockets game in a second because that's the one thing that I'm talking about. And again, it's a persistent issue. This team does not rebound as a team. And this is where the loss of Brook Lopez is really being felt, because I understand Miles Turner can block shots at the rim. But in terms of as an all-around, overall, impactful defensive player, Miles Turner is not that at all. He's very much not. Brook Lopez had way more to do with why Milwaukee was so good defensively, more than Miles Turner ever hopes to be. Okay? You would think that, oh my goodness, Miles Turner, Giannis, like that's going to be – no. Miles Turner, as good as he is at blocking shots, that doesn't tell the whole story. Rudy Gobert can block shots. Won, 4 Defensive Player of the Year awards. The team still attack him defensively. Slowed down a little bit in recent years. You could take him outside of the paint. So, again, I just think that – and I understand why they had to get rid of Lopez, too, because he just got older. But – again, I just don't – there's no impact. Milwaukee's just not making much of an impact defensively. If I had to – they were, back half of the league in terms of just overall defensive efficiency, just overall, just not great defensively. And when you look at it, okay, when you look at that roster, right, all right, Ryan Rollins, great defender. AJ Green, really trying hard at the end. I wouldn't consider him a lockdown guy, but he can defend. He can hold his own. Giannis, probably one of the best defenders of the generation. I believe one Defensive Player of the Year, about 2. Miles Turner can block shots. Don't think he's overall impactful defensively. Gary Trent, I would kind of consider him more or less a spot-up shooter. I don't know if I would consider – I'm not saying he's not like a great defender. He tries hard on the defensive end, but, I think he's a good defender. So I don't really think it's all on the starters to be like why this team is not great defensively. I think then you move down to the bench, and it's like, okay, Bobby Portis, not a great defender. Kyle Kuzma, we're actually really trying hard at that end. He's been a pleasant surprise defensively. And then, all right, Taurean Prince is going to miss some time. I think Taurean Prince does do decently well on the defensive end. Let's see. Who am I? Let's see. Cole Anthony. Cole Anthony, I'm not saying Cole Anthony's bad at defense, but also he's a little shorter, so it's kind of hard for him to be great defensively. And I'm trying to think, like, who else I could be missing from the bench. They don't utilize Jericho Sims at all, so that's a net negative. Moses, I'm trying to.
Yeah. Otherwise, I mean.
So again,
coffee.
It would not seem like this team would be bad defensively, but so I don't think it has anything to do with the individual talent of the players. I just think the problem is, Evan, when you give up way too many extra possessions, you're not going to look great defensively, and that's what this team consistently does on a game-to-game basis. This is not one of those things where sometimes this team offense can clear the glass and sometimes it can't. It's been a persistent issue this year where this team consistently cannot clear the glass. Okay? And especially when you get our second unit out there, they're definitely not clearing the glass.
No.
Like, you see guys, like Bobby Portis would be like 3 inches taller than the other guy. They're still, like, they still have smaller guys clearing the glass. And, again, that's an issue. That is on coaching. When you allow way too many offensive rebounds, okay, that is on coaching. That's not boxing out. That's not rebounding as a team. That's you saying, all right, well, we want to shoot as many threes as possible. But what's permeating is we want to get out and run. But you can't run if you don't have the ball. That's elementary school stuff. And it's elementary school stuff to say, like, stick your butt to somebody and grab the damn rebound. That's elementary school stuff. You learn that on the earliest stages of playing basketball. To just stick your butt to somebody and box them out. This is not like something like you learn at like a later stage in life when you learn to play basketball. When you first learn to pick up a basketball, probably like first or even third or fourth grade, stick your butt to somebody. Okay, and grab the rebound. That's what you're supposed to do. Okay, I'm not going to keep saying, "Oh, well, other players are tall." Everybody's tall. Okay, a lot of players are tall in the NBA. A lot of guys, they're athletic freaks. They're 6'8" and they're 6'9". Everybody is so freaking tall. All right, that doesn't mean that nobody knows how to grab a damn rebound. Okay. All right, so I don't know what I can't even use any more excuses. This is on coaching. All right, and I'll get to this in a little bit, but like Greg Buckner, who was one of our assistant coaches, kept saying in the huddle against the Rockets when they were allowing just allowing them to just clear out everything. We have to be more active on the boards. We can't keep allowing offensive rebounds. And what does this team keep doing? Allow more offensive rebounds. You can't keep doing it. Okay, you're not going to win games in the NBA if you keep giving up extra possessions. You won't even go far in the playoffs if you keep allowing extra possessions. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. All right? Giannis shouldn't keep having to put up 45 points a game for this team to win. That's not sustainable. It's not sustainable for anybody. And you know what? If that's what Doc Rivers wants to do, is just for us to just shoot threes and just let Giannis do everything, all right, then that's on you too. Okay? Like, people are sitting there, and again, I got an argument with somebody yesterday about like Doc Rivers being a good coach. He's basically another version of Mike Budenholzer. Doesn't make any adjustments. Okay? Like, team is pretty much easily guardable. Like, there's nothing that they do from a schematic standpoint that's like, it's like, oh my God, like, it's a basic offense. There's nothing that they do. There's absolutely nothing that Milwaukee does that surprises other teams on a game-to-game basis. It's a basic offense, okay? He has his guys, who used to coach with him, like on the bench with him. So so that's the frustrating thing for me is every year we run into this with Doc Rivers. Okay. I'm like, oh, well, he makes a play. I don't give a shit about making the playoffs. I don't care. I literally don't give a flying you know what about making the playoffs. Go to the Eastern Conference Finals, Doc. How about that? How about we get out of the first round because we haven't done it since 2022. Do that. Do that first before we start worrying about like, you know, and again, there's a lot of outside noise there. What's Giannis' future going to be? Giannis' future is not going to be here if he has to keep putting up like 50 points a game because he knows it's like, dude, that's not going to get us close to winning a championship. All right. And the other problem I see, and again, we're going to get to these games in a second, although this could be like one big giant rant fest for me.
Yep.
Okay. All right. The other problem with this team, they don't have a Chris Middleton, right? So say if Giannis misses a couple games, they don't have another guy to be like, all right, go out and get us 20. They don't have another guy like that. They don't. There's no other guy on that roster who I can rely on to get their own shot, to create their own offense. There's nobody else. Kyle Kuzma drops fouls. Bobby Portis hits floaters. But I'm not sitting there being like in terms of a bag, there's no other guy on this roster who has that. Cole Anthony's a great distributor. Okay? Gary Trent and AJ Green, they're spot-up shooters. Like when Giannis creates stuff for them, they're great in that area. But I'm not relying on Gary Trent and AJ Green to be like, all right, go and get us 20 by just creating it by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's not who they are. That's not who they are as players. That takes a certain level of talent and a lot of hard work in the offseason to be able to get to that. Ryan Rollins, don't get me wrong, putting up numbers, not relying on Ryan Rollins to give me 27 points when Giannis is off. Not doing that. So it's just like, so I'm left with, when this team doesn't have Giannis, it's like, oh, we're fucked. They were really good without Giannis last year. You know why? Because they had Damian Lillard, and that's one of the greatest players of all time, one of the greatest point guards of all time, top 75 player. Okay, he can create his own offense. There's nobody else on this roster who I could point to be like, all right, here you go. You give us 25 while Giannis sits this one out. It's probably going to be an automatic loss in all likelihood, or it's going to be like a really close, grit your teeth win in which, oh, they didn't look good, but they pulled one out of their ass. That's what this looks like to me right now. All right. I just had to get some things off my chest. Did you have any thoughts? I feel like I took up half the time.
No, my biggest thing, obviously, we'll talk about in the Rockets game is just those freaking offensive rebounds. It was, when you look at the rebounding totals for the Bucks to the Rockets for offensive rebounds to overall rebounds, it really says something. So that's my biggest takeaway, and I feel like why they're losing all these games.
$100%. All right. Before we get to the Rockets game, we're actually hit up the Bulls game first because they played them last Friday. 126 to 110. Giannis once again had to be Giannis, 41 points. Let's see. We had Miles Turner 23, Ryan Rollins 20. Cole Anthony 11 off the bench, so scoring was balanced there. Matas Buzelis, he's been kind of a pleasant surprise with them for the Bulls this year. It's 20 points. Josh Giddey 16. Vucevic always been a Bucks killer, 16. Trey Jones. That was about it. I mean, like I said, they got Kevin Huerter. I don't think this game was ever particularly. I think the Bucks for the most part had it well in hand. I think that they did pull away. I think the Bulls having 14 turnovers, that didn't help them at all. Like the Bulls, to me, that's still, for me, that's one of those teams where it's like, what exactly are you doing, right? Like, what's your long-term plan? Because you got rid of Zach LaVine and you got rid of DeRozan last year at the deadline, and it's like, all right, what's the team going to look like a year or two from now? Right, because you're still hanging on to Vucevic. You got Josh Giddey, so a good young player. Buzelis, I do think could be a building block. I think he's been really, really good for them this year. But I don't know. I mean, they're not a threat. Like, I'm not worried. Like, I don't really worry about playing the Bulls anymore now that DeMar and Levine aren't there, because those guys, like, Bucks could just
Mhm.
not, like, always had issues with. So I don't know. Like, they just didn't. And again, this was actually the first game of the NBA Cup. So that
Yep.
was another thing to note is the Bucks went to their new court design. But I don't know. Like, the Bulls are just. I don't exactly know what they're doing from a roster standpoint, but they've gotten off to a good start so far. But I don't read too much into that. A lot of teams can start off hot, like, because everybody's body in the early stage of the NBA season is really fresh, and like they don't have like the nicks and dings that you're supposed to. I don't know. The early part of the NBA season to me is kind of like dating, like when you're first going out with somebody and everything is just just perfect and stuff like that. You're
Mhm.
both happy. You're both in that lovey-dovey stages of wanting to do things for each other. And then I don't know. I mean, 6 months and then 6 months from now, 4 or 6 months from now, you start to put some time in a little bit. Then it's like then you start to suffer some of those bumps and bruises and stuff like that. Like and that's like everybody's fresh to begin the year before you get to even after Christmas, you start to play more games. Your body starts to get worn down a little bit. Start to take those nicks and dings. Everybody's playing through everything on a certain level. So I don't read too much into the Bulls' great start because at the end of the day I don't know. I don't think that's a great roster,
Mhm.
and we'll kind of know where they are after Christmas. But I think the Bucks just kind of show it's like, yeah, our roster's better than yours. Like, it's not like you guys are not a threat to us. So what did you see in Milwaukee's win against Chicago?
Yeah. Outside of the first quarter, which was brutal for both teams, it was not very offensive heavy. It was a lot of defense or just missing shots. But no, it's good that they were actually able to close it. I feel like a lot of these games, and obviously we'll get to that with the Mavericks and even the Rockets, closing out the games. You have a lead, and all of a sudden, no, it gets smaller and smaller as they go further into the fourth quarter, even the third quarter. But no, being able to pull away near the end was actually rewarding because I feel like they have not been able to do that for quite a while. When they have bigger leads going to the fourth quarter or leads in the fourth quarter itself. I think the only takeaway is frustrating. I feel like Gary Trent, AJ Green, and Cole Anthony are like the three main guys outside of Giannis, Miles Turner, etc. But I feel like both of them are either both on it or both off either game. Both, Gary Trent 2 for 9, AJ Green 2 for 8. Um, One of the other games we'll talk about, Gary Trent's, like 2 for 12 some games. Just inconsistent on and off. And I feel like when they are taking, 8 to 12 shots a game and only hitting 2 to 4, it's a little frustrating because again, that's possessions where you're losing out when some of those shots are 2 to 3 a possession. You shoot a three, miss it, offensive rebound, pass back out, and just chucking up a shot again. But, outside of that, I felt like it was a good game overall. Again, like you said, Giannis had to have 41 points, shoot 32 times, and actually his free throws. But no, outside of that, I feel like just the inconsistency I feel like is hurting them in a lot of these games just because 2 possessions could have given them a win, on the Houston's game, a couple of games in the past, you're losing by 2 or 3. It's a free throw or it's a offensive rebound that, you just misplay or, shot up another 3. But yeah, just a good win for the cup. I feel like every game has to be a cup for the Bucks game just because they seem it is just the regular season itself. But hopefully they can their another cup game tonight against the Hornets. So hopefully they can keep it going. I feel like the NBA is just trying to push Giannis to get the NBA cups to shy him away from the finals. No, but Torian Prince hasn't lost in the cup yet. Darvin Ham hasn't lost in the cup yet. So hopefully they can just keep doing with that for those games.
Yeah, and honestly, I hate to say it, statistically, and because this, I believe this began in 23. I think the Lakers already won the first NBA Cup.
Yep.
The team who wins the NBA Cup hasn't made it that far in the postseason, so that's the one part that I would be like really concerned about. It's just the fact that and honestly, what I've seen from these Cup games, after you're just in such a lull. Like, think about it. The Bucks won the NBA Cup last year against the Thunder.
Mm-hmm.
That team did not play well after they got back from the NBA Cup. They had such a lull, and it's been that way for like the last 2 years. Whether they lost against the Pacers or they beat the Thunder. Dude, after they came back, they were in such a slump. Like, they did not play their best basketball after coming back from Vegas. And that's where the one part I would be concerned about is if they don't play their best basketball. It's like, what? Like, is it going to be even more of a grind? Like, that'd be my main question. Because, because they've been playing okay-ish basketball right now. But, once they get back from the Cup, and
Yep.
it's just gonna have to be Giannis scoring the whole time. It's like, oh yeah, this team.
Back to reality.
This team's gonna be like a 5th seed. Like, that's what my concern would be, is if it's just Giannis. Because I think the biggest thing that Milwaukee gave up when they gave up Middleton, and I understand why, because he was getting hurt and stuff like that. But now it's like, well, they don't have a playmaker, so now you're just kind of left with guys who are like eh. Like, Kyle Kuzma's great off the bench, but you get Giannis, and then without Giannis, it's like you got a bunch of, like, I don't want to say unknowns. I do think Miles Turner is a great player, but certain times Miles Turner can be like really inconsistent. So that's what my concern would be. Like, this team could really fall into bouts of inconsistency. And again, with Gary Trent and AJ Green being shooters, of course they're going to fall into bouts of not shooting the ball well. And when you don't have that, balance offensively, it's going to be hard to win games. Like, you can win games with Giannis putting up big numbers in the regular season, but in the postseason, you really need the other guys to step up. So, and so we're going to move on to the next game, because I do think a lot of this, what we've kind of been talking about, it could rear its ugly head if Milwaukee advances far in the postseason. So last Sunday, Milwaukee had a little early game matinee against the Houston Rockets. Lost 122-115. Evan, I think the biggest thing that stuck out to me with this game, Houston had 20 offensive rebounds.
That is correct.
That's awful. Like that. Like, you get 10 bad, but 20. They had 20 offensive rebounds. And as I look, that's interesting. So, for most people, right, to placate the fact that it's not working, this team's grabbing way too many offensive rebounds, you would think, like, at a certain level, Doc Rivers would bring out, like, his tallest player, and Jericho Sims, to, keep him off the glass for a brief period. Or, even put him in the game at some point. That didn't happen. Instead, what happened, they kept rolling out Miles Turner and Bobby Portis, and those guys rolling offensive rebounds. Okay? And especially since when the Rockets have Sengun and then Steven Adams, like, when they went to that double big lineup with Adams and Sengun, oh my God, they were grabbing so many offensive rebounds. There was not even a part of that was funny. And, Giannis played, scored 37. But again, that's a tall-ass team, Evan.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and even look at this other guy. Clint Capella's tall.
Yep.
Steve Adams had 12 points, 22 minutes.
Yeah, Clint Capella played just under 7 minutes and still had 4 offensive rebounds.
But another guy who they really couldn't stop, like Milwaukee had a double-digit lead at one point.
Mm-hmm.
One guy
14.
they really couldn't stop. And the biggest issue for Houston right now is they don't have like a point guard on their roster really, because they're having like Amen Thompson be like their point guard, so to speak. Reed Shepherd, they could not stop him. He was getting so many open looks, so many open shots. Like, I think at one point he scored like 8 straight points. Like they literally could not stop him. He scored 16 points off the bench. 16. Like, that's the part that's frustrating. It's like, okay, at a certain level, you know the players that are good, right? Okay, you know Kevin Durant is good. Okay, you know Kevin Durant's going to get his. He had 31 points. Fine. Sengun, I mean, when I say that, Miles Turner isn't like an all-around great defensive player, Sengun was going to work on him. Work. Like, he was literally giving him that work. Okay? Brook Lopez, with all due respect, would have never let that happen. And now I'm not taking anything away from Sengun. He's not just some random player. Sengun's a great player. But for goodness sake, Miles Turner could not stop him. Like he could not handle Sengun at all. Like, it was just like,
one body, spin move, right to the hoop.
Oh my goodness.
Next possession.
Oh, it was nasty.
Nudge him a little bit, spin it, layup.
It was nasty. And now if you guys are a little unaware, there was a little beef heading into this game between Sengun and Giannis.
Mm-hmm.
Sengun did have some comments about Giannis this past summer about he didn't think he was like a I'm gonna see if I can pull the quote up. He didn't think he was like a good team guy, I believe. I'm trying to think of what he said. He downplayed Giannis's passing skills, which is, I mean, that's so false. Now, granted, they seem to have buried the hatchet and stuff like that, but rejecting Giannis, like saying Giannis isn't like a great passer or doesn't pass or anything like that. That's just wrong. Like, he does. I don't know how many times. Now, if you would have made those comments in, say, like 2019, I feel like you would have had a bit of more of a case there, because I'm not saying Giannis was ever a bad passer or ever a selfish player. I just think now he's kind of stopped forcing it a little bit more. And like, he has kicked it out to AJ Green and Trent when defenses have collapsed on him. So I never agreed with that sentiment. And I know people are going to take it as, but again, guys are playing for their country. So it's like, I could understand, like, you don't win or something like that. You could go after them, but like, it was just patently false for when Sengun said that. So, that was the only part I didn't agree with. But really, outside of that, that's really the only notes I had about this. They gave up way too many offensive rebounds. It's weird because Milwaukee had like 21 points off turnovers.
Oh, they played great defensively. It was like steal after steal after steal. And all of a sudden, now they're losing. And they just lost. Yeah, they had 21 fast break points, 30 points off turnovers. Like, I felt like every possession was a steal to a fast break layup. And then, all of a sudden they just start giving up offensive rebounds and it was game over.
Yeah, and a couple of quick notes I had. So KD had 14 points in the third. Again, that doesn't surprise me. It's Kevin. As he said at one press conference, I'm Kevin Durant. You know who I am. Yes, we do. Trust me. Yes, we do. That's an unstoppable player, and he's just gotten better with age. He has never slowed down. Like, he's a Hall of Fame player. He's one of the greatest players of all time. Like, you're not stopping him. Like, you're not holding Kevin Durant to 7 points. He's going to score. Now, I think the other thing, too, Giannis did go to the line a lot in this game.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe at one point, I don't know if it was this game, another game, he was perfect at one point.
Yeah, he was.
So then he got tired out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think Milwaukee was down 2, 115, 113. Giannis did miss 2 crucial free throws.
Yep.
And I think that I'm going to chalk that up to fatigue. I just think that, he just got tired. And, I think from that moment on, I think Houston was able to pull away. So, again, do I think Milwaukee deserved to win that game? No. Like, you can't give up 20 offensive rebounds in an NBA game and expect to win. Like, it's not going to happen. But I do think Giannis should have hit those free throws. It didn't happen. But, I mean, what are you going to do? All right, moving on to the next game. Milwaukee played Dallas. I believe it was Tuesday.
Yep. Back to back.
Back to back. Eked that one out.
Sunday, Monday, yeah.
Yep. Monday, excuse me. 116 to 114. Kuzma had 116 to 114. Now, a couple of things in that game. Number one, Cooper Flagg. Geez Louise. Like, Cooper Flagg is – I know it's no hyperbole to say this because you want to see how every, number one overall pick looks. Yeah, no, Cooper Flagg's going to be a star in this league. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that Cooper Flagg, if he can get – like, if they can get out of the rot that is the Dallas Mavericks, because they did just fire their general manager. That team's not going anywhere this year. So this year is probably going to be a lost year for Cooper Flagg because think about it. They got Anthony Davis, who can't stay healthy. And for some reason, Nico Harrison gave up a generational player to get Anthony Davis, which, that was a little weird. And that was probably, and I would venture to say that's probably the worst trade of all time. Like, I don't know anybody with half a brain, even if he weren't even accomplished, even if like I don't think there's a fan who would even make that trade. Because it's like, it's Anthony Davis. It's like, why would you? It's like, well, they need defense. Okay, but Anthony Davis can't stay on the floor. So how are you going to have defense when the guy that is supposed to be a defensive anchor can't stay healthy? He's never been able to stay healthy. Anthony Davis has always missed time due to ailments and injuries and stuff like that. So, and look, Kyrie's still recovering from an ACL injury. So did I think that Nico Harrison was awful at his job? I don't. He made moves within the margins to help that team get to the finals. It's just when you trade your core piece, your franchise player, for nothing, that's what's like, damn it, you just literally undid all the good that you just did.
Mm-hmm.
By getting, say Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington. And those are on the margin guys that you could use to win the final or go to a finals, potentially win. But when you trade your franchise player, and you just don't get anything back in return. Now, again, would I have traded to the Lakers? Probably not. I would have found another team with another equal valued star. All right. So if it was Luka Doncic, trade him to, like, say, the Timberwolves for Anthony Edwards or something like that. If they would have done that, they were really that concerned about his weight or his motivational factors and stuff like that, I would have just traded him for another youngster, not another older player. Because keep in mind, Luka Doncic got drafted in 2018, and Anthony Davis got drafted in 2012. There's a 6-year age difference between those two guys. So, you're drafted a guy who can't stay healthy. You're drafted a generational player, one of the greatest players of all time, or on his way, for a guy who can't stay healthy. And, it's just that it's just like, and again, ownership for the Mavs isn't even blameless in all this, because they're the ones who signed off on it. Like, it was not like if people mentioned before, it was not like
he went behind their back.
No, that's not what happened. The ownership signed off on it too. So, but Larry, getting into the game, Giannis, great performance from Giannis once again. 15 points in the fourth, 30 points. Kyle Kuzma once again off the bench, great role for him, 26.
Huge
Miles,
play at the end.
Huh? Oh yeah,
Huge
you got the steal at
play,
the end. Cooper Flag slipped on the inbound, and and again, Cooper Flag, I'm going to tell you, he's got balls to, I believe it was either take the lead or tie the game. I believe to tie it. To challenge Giannis at the rim.
Mm-hmm.
Still hit the layup. It's like, yeah, this kid's going to be good. He's got no fear. He could jump. And not only that, he is springy as hell. He can jump. I didn't watch a lot of Duke basketball last year, but first time I watched Cooper, I was like, oh my god, this guy can jump out of the gym. He's really tall. And keep in mind too, he's only like, I believe if I'm not mistaken, he's like 18 years old. He is 18 years old.
Yep. 2006. Seems illegal.
Being 18, he should be in college right now. But he graduated a year early to play for Duke at like 17. Like, to play for a college, play Division I college basketball at 17 years of age, that's crazy.
Be really good.
And then everybody knew, it's like, oh yeah, when he was a prodigy when he was like 12 or 13. Like, we knew how good he was. It is insane the fact that he looks like that at like 18. Like, that's what's crazy. That's what's crazy to me. And he's on a good team. Like a guy I didn't even mention it was Klay Thompson. He had a couple threes against Milwaukee. It's like, all right, Klay Thompson looking. Klay Thompson looks pretty good. I know he hasn't shot the ball well to start the year, but he looked okay against Milwaukee. So, like I said, Milwaukee had to eke out another win against the Mavs. Moving on, and a back-to-back. Milwaukee played against the Hornets the other night, lost 111-100. This game wasn't like, yeah. See, Evan, you want to know how bad this game was?
How bad was it?
Well, all right, so let's see. Miles Turner had 21. Ryan Rollins had 25. Pete Nance had 10. Keep in mind, that was Pete Nance's first game this year. And he outscored AJ Green. He outscored Kyle Kuzma, and he outscored Gary Trent. So, a guy, that's his first game all year. He outscored our 3 starters. Like that
in 4 minutes.
That's how bad that game was. Is the fact that even without Giannis, this team is like, there's a bit of a reduction of talent there. But now it's like you even get to the end of the bench. It's like, geez, our end of the bench look better than our starters did. It's like, geez, like that's how bad it was. Like, that game was not particularly close. It was really frustrating to watch. Like, if you really look at the stats here, Milwaukee shot 45%, 12 of 30 from 3, so that wasn't the issue. Mm-hmm. But then once again, you go to 15 offensive rebounds for Charlotte. Like, the one guy who was frustrating as hell to play against was Kalkbrenner, who I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he's from Creighton.
Yep, went 8 for 8.
8 for 8. Okay. Miles Bridges, 20. Colin Knippel, 16. Colin Sexton, 16. Trey Mann, 13. Pat Connaughton, 11. So it's like when you Pat Connaughton, by the way, had 11 points. That team looked like they'd never seen Pat Connaughton play before in their life. The fact that a guy who barely played for Milwaukee last year all of a sudden picks up 11 points off the bench, it's like, all right, well, you've played against him.
Mm-hmm.
You know Pat Connaughton. You do know that he can shoot, right? It feels like they just got in the message that Pat Connaughton can actually shoot the basketball. So that was irritating. So, and then Kalkbrenner, like him being like, and he was like a really tall guy, and he was just, he was giving Milwaukee the work too.
Yeah, he's 7'1".
Well, he was tall. He's a tall. My parents used to say, he's a tall drink of water. So,
Second round pick too.
Yeah. So that was irritating.
Yeah, yeah. When you got 1 for 5 from Gary, 1 for 4, AJ Green, Cole Anthony, 2 of 12.
Ugh.
Those are those 3 guys that I mentioned earlier. And all those guys are off. It clearly shows. I mean, Ryan Reynolds has kind of picked it back up, which is nice to see. But yeah, when you got arguably your top 2 3-point shooters and also Kyle Kuzma 3 for 12. So let's see, 1, 2, 3 of your starters. Yeah, and then there's Cole Anthony. Yeah, 15 minutes, took 12 shots in 15 minutes. Like, ugh. I just also feel like they can never beat the Hornets, or whenever they do play the Hornets and they win, it's like, again, as close as humanly possible. They didn't have LaMelo Ball playing. Obviously, Conk Nipple, shout out Milwaukee. Like, you got all these younger guys, but yeah, when shooting's off, you're not coming back. They didn't deserve to win this game, even if they did make it close and they were to slip away with it somehow. But just an absolute atrocious shooting game.
Yeah, and again, like you've talked about before, I'm just curious as to how good this team is with without Giannis playing.
Yeah.
And it's like, if they're looking against the Hornets, who are like not supposed to expect to be good this year, then it's like, well, who are they going to look good against?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if Giannis doesn't play, because Giannis will sit out, like, for load management reasons.
Yep.
Like, he will. It's just, he's our player. It's like, you want him to keep him as healthy as possible. He won't be like Kawhi, but he will sit out once in a blue moon. Like, and that was a load management reason with a sore knee. It's like, all right, well, that's a load management reason to sit someone out. So it's like, yeah, Milwaukee's kind of got to play without him at some point, and when they don't, or when it looks like that, then it's like, all right, well, I mean, how good is this team? Because like, you got to be able to win with other guys, and when the other guys don't do well, then it's like, what are we going for here? And I think a lot of that loss can be contributed with the fact, because we talked about this last week. So Taurean Prince is expected to be out indefinitely.
He'll be out for the year.
Yeah, essentially. Like, in case you guys didn't know, he had I believe it was a herniated disc in his neck, right, or his back?
The neck.
Yeah, so Taurean Prince had a herniated disc in his neck. That's not.
Yeah, neck surgery he had yesterday.
Yeah, and again, that's not really an injury that you could just be like, oh, he'll be back in a month or two. Like, neck injuries in any professional athletes, like, that's career threatening. So we don't know how long he's going to be out. According to this.
Yeah, when you say out indefinitely.
It could be like, you could come back end of the year possibly.
Yeah.
Like, according to this, with physical therapy, it could take 3 to 6 months. So if he can, so he's had a procedure, right? I believe I did read that he had a procedure the other day. Okay. So that's going to be at least, so with him just having the procedure, he's going to be out at least like 3 to 6 months. at the very latest before he could like come back. And that's unfortunate because he was actually he start off the year shooting the ball really well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's unfortunate that this injury happened. But next man up. So we'll just kind of see what happens with that. But yeah, the Taurean Prince is gonna be out a while. How do you think that's gonna impact Milwaukee?
I think it'll have a bigger impact that people think, just because again that's another 3-point shooter off the bench. When guys like again AJ Green, Gary Trent aren't on, you got Taurean Prince to somewhat rely on. So you just kind of lose that third shooter and essential like backup starter to some of these guys if they're out. So it'll definitely be a bigger impact than I feel like a lot of people are gonna say. But no, it sucks just because again it's not like, oh yeah, he'll be out for a month and he'll be back, and who knows. I mean, how do you even come back from that kind of thing? Like, what's the process of getting back, and is it even worth coming back or just kind of sitting out for the season when you do, or who knows? But yeah, it sucks because again you're losing that 3-point shooter off the bench, which can be crucial down the road.
Yeah, and I think that, and I do agree with you that I think it's going to be like it's a hard injury that it's not a lot that Milwaukee can improve on until like they maybe get to like the trade deadline. Right, not much that you can do. Although I did see they did sign Victor Oladipo to the G League team. We also talked about that last week. So that could be a guy that Milwaukee brings in to their roster to be like, all right, maybe this could be like the scoring punch that we need coming off the bench. Because, I do like Kuzma. Having two guys who can score, I mean, that would be crucial. Now, here's the other thing that we got to keep in mind. Okay, this is not going to be 2018 Victor Oladipo.
Correct. Guy who took LeBron to Game 7.
Because look, he's had a couple injuries. He's had a couple debilitating injuries that, whether it was a fractured kneecap or whether it was, the injury he suffered against Milwaukee in the playoffs a couple of years ago. Like, those are not just injuries you just automatically just come back from. He looks a lot different than what he was before. His hair's longer. But look, Milwaukee is just taking fires on guys. I do think if they wanted to bring in Victor, or they also got another lottery guy in Johnny Davis. That's a little more far fetched, but Victor Oladipo for sure can still play in the league. Like, don't get me wrong. Let's see what the roster is. There's a Herder also coached by a former Bucks player, Vano Udra.
I feel like at the end of the day, it doesn't hurt to try it. You never know. Played with Miles Turner on the Pacers.
Although, wait, I am confused about one thing, though. The one thing I'm confused about is, where is Johnny Davis? Like, does he actually like a Herd player?
Yeah, he's on the Herd.
How come I don't see him on the active roster? That's weird. Because I know they signed him, and I've seen him somewhere, but I haven't physically seen him on like the roster. So I'm trying to figure out where he would. He's on the Herd, but I don't know why he's not on the roster. I gotta see did I miss that? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, and early October they acquired him from the Knicks.
All right, well,
interesting.
It is interesting. But nothing else. Got another Herd point. Justice Winslow.
Yep. Yeah, I forgot about that one.
Interesting. Justice Winslow. That's it. That name's a throwback. Yeah, I don't know if
I see him on this one.
Damn, we just went down like a Wisconsin Herd rabbit hole about like So what else? I don't think I have anything left. Do you have any more topics today?
No, obviously, the biggest one was Oladipo and Prince. I feel like them getting Oladipo was kind of a supporter for Torian Prince. Again, you're getting a veteran guard. Stick him in the G League for a little bit and bring him up if need be. But I feel like he's got a. There's no way they get Victor Oladipo and he just sits in the G League.
No,
I just don't see it happening. No. I feel like he'll definitely make an appearance with the Bucks in the near future. But yeah, no, they play their second cup game tonight again with the Hornets, this time at home. And then they got the Lakers tomorrow on a back-to-back at home. So it is a little better back-to-back with home games, but they got Bucks, Lakers, Cavs, Sixers, Pistons this week. So you got a couple games coming up before next Friday when we record. So yeah, should be decent. Again, I don't really know how they're going to play. Lakers, you never know. I don't think LeBron has played yet, and I don't expect him to play that game. But with our luck, he'll make his debut. Because why wouldn't he? And then yeah, Cavs game on Monday.
I agree with you. So all right, get ready for tonight's game. Thank you guys for tuning in to this edition of the Milwaukee Bucks on Tap podcast. We'll see you guys next week.